Well, howdy again. Wanted to show some of my status on uh, what has become a three-front war. I'd remarked about it in my last video. So I'm continuing my plans to move on up into Mexico. Uh, as you can see, we'll zoom in here and you can see I've got 6 railroad guns here. And a motorized infantry, which is essentially the same as a scout car. Uh, Over here, I've got 7 with a scout car, and just come on some infantry here. Let me stop and see if I can finish this guy off real quick. Doesn't seem to have much hit points. What's he got? 1.4 out of 17. Let me kill him real quick. There we go. Gotta love the railroad guns. So anyway, uh, I'm moving on up north, and then over here we've got 6. As a matter of fact, here's a medium tank that I got from taking over Tampico and the East Mexico had control of that, and then they lost it to Cuba. Um, and so Cuba started building a tank, or maybe East Mexico did. But anyway, the point is they started building the tank. I took over the city. I got the tank for free. Uh, Not really a tank person, so I'm just kind of using it to conquer territory and as also as a slow scout. But let's see. Yeah, that one's in range. So let's stop my railroad gun here. Now that's 3 infantry units for total hit points of 48 out of 51. So it may not. No, it might one shot it. I don't know. We'll see here. But anyway, this is what I've been doing. Um, I have a crazy work schedule. I work 12-hour days, and this weekend I had to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so it's difficult to really concentrate on the game with a work schedule like that. And uh, now I'm on vacation for a week, so I can have fun playing while I'm doing other things and progress through this game, you know, really nicely. Especially in the next couple of days, I'm going to be actively taking over a lot of territory. Well, let's see what we got. So they split up the unit. One of them's got 7.6, and the other's got 15.1 out of 34. So anyway, let me continue on the path there. We'll just move on up to the main juncture there, and that'll take 24 minutes. So he can just sit for a few minutes, and then he'll finish off those infantry units long before they get to this tank. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. This is the Mexico. All these territories have declared against me. I have not initiated the attack on them. As you can see, I still have Florida. I finished conquering all the islands, Cuba and Haiti and Dominican Republic and uh, Jamaica and Puerto Rico. So, let's go back to the full map and you can see, uh, I'm advancing north quite nicely here. Strong industrial base. I'm still pumping out railroad guns out of my 2 main production cities uh, from my core territory. I've added 3 more cities here in Central America that I'm producing guns at. 2 of them are at 20 hours for a gun, and the other is like 14 or something. And I'm not even wasting resources improving those times. That's plenty of time. The point is I am steadily producing anywhere from 2 to 4 railroad guns, uh, basically in a 24-hour period, in addition to the ones I already have. And so let's go up here to the other front, which was New York. Uh, this entire coalition went inactive, and the computer took over control. And so New York, the computer declared war on me. So was already in the process of sending units up this direction. My original intent was to go after Nunavut up here, and Minnesota beat me to it, and Manitoba beat me to it, and we're in a coalition or whatever. So uh, I just bypassed it. I'm not going to attack Minnesota. Since then, Minnesota has here. You can see it better on this map. Minnesota and Illinois are in a coalition. Minnesota has taken over Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi. Uh, and then Michigan and some other stuff up in here. And so Virginia just declared war on me today. Uh, I've got a couple of units headed into there. I'll start taking over territory. But really, the only thing left is Tennessee, South Carolina, and Georgia. So Minnesota really took over a lot of territory here in the past couple of days. And you can see the Midwest is still untouched, basically, from the last video. Um, Oregon grabbed another couple little pieces here in northern Colorado, northeast Colorado. Uh, Northern California has come into Arizona a little bit, and Colorado. Uh, I'm sorry, New Mexico went north into Colorado and took it over. So Arizona went north a little bit too. Uh, but anyway, so there's not much left in the United States that's still untouched. So you can see Oklahoma and Kansas, and then about 99% of Texas there, and then these three other states here, Georgia and South Carolina, completely untouched. So there's been a lot of action. You have three different coalitions. That's the kind of stuff that happens. Let me go back up here to New York and Newfoundland area. So what I did is I diverted my forces that were going to Nunavut up here, northern Canada, redirected them to New Brunswick, Newfoundland area, which New York had taken over. So you can see I've taken over 60% or so of that. I actually had all of this island out here, this peninsula out here. He popped a unit and started taking it back when I crossed the water here to come over to St. John. You can see I've got uh, 7 artillery pieces here, and I've got 2 more right here, uh, disembarking and getting ready to come on land. So I'm gonna take this artillery piece. I might as well just do it now, and I'm going to start directing it to Doaktown. I forget how they pronounce it. It's kind of different sometimes. But anyway, in the meantime, I will capture Fredericton and capture the city, and then head on up here and take on this infantry unit, which is a solo infantry unit, 20 points. So I can one-shot him with 7 cannons. Um, and then I will send 1 cannon down. Now I might send both of these cannons down just for safety and go ahead and slowly slog my way through the mountains and the forest and stuff and take these 3 or 4 territories over again. I'm in no rush. It's no big deal. I've got a scout corps right here that's currently finishing off these 3 or 4 territories here. Then I'll have that. I'm assuming by then that South Quebec and possibly North Quebec will declare war against me in there sometime, and that's okay. I mean, it just I may have to reconquer some of this territory at some point. Uh, just play cat and mouse back and forth until my big guns can come north and just totally wipe them out. In the meantime, I've got my navy. I've got 4 battleships here, and I've been helping clear out coastal units. And I've landed some of my big guns. I took this armored car brigade. It's only got 7.6 hit points out of 52, so very low health. It's a cheap unit. I don't care if it gets killed. I'll use it as a scout and also to conquer territory quickly. And that's what I've been doing right now. Um, and then I've been slowly walking my railroad guns up. I've got uh, 2 of them here, which is not really a strong number. I always like to go 4 or higher, just so I can one-shot infantry, solo infantry units. And in case they send something quick like this armored car division right here, which is 103 hit points out of 140. It's going slowly because he's got 2 infantry units. Otherwise, it's 2 different armored car units. So I'm going to have to deal with him. Let's see, 19 minutes till the next attack. See, he's I'm in combat with him right now. He snuck up on me when I was doing some other stuff. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and redirect my battleships down here and help clean some of this stuff up. Let's go. Let's go right there. So 4 hours to get there. So I hope I don't lose these. It looks like I may do it. I may end up losing those 2 railroad guns there. Uh, that's all right. I've got others on the way. It's no big deal. This should be one right here. There's a railroad gun I've got coming in to Salisbury. Let's see. Virginia has an infantry unit that's embarking right there. So he's bringing stuff over to help. Come down here, I've got another railroad unit that I'll take into New Bern up here, make landfall, and just start conquering north. Um, you have to remember if you do this yourself, uh, in this situation where I've got an enemy that's declared war against me, they've taken over significant quantity of territories. Uh, doesn't matter what shape it is, if it's the original uh, shape of the state or it's a mixture combination like this is. Excuse me, I got a cough. You have to remember that when there's been battle activity uh, like this, those units have started somewhere and have gone a certain direction to conquer territory. So when I make landfall and start conquering a few territories along the coast like this, the first thing the computer does, and then most players too, is turn their units around and start heading for the territories that have been taken away to recapture them. So one of the reasons I like railroad guns is it's almost like a fly trap. I know they're coming, and I just pick them off as they get closer. Now, in this circumstance, uh, I'm assuming that units were brought up uh, by sea. In other words, they went across water and took over this peninsula here and then came up after my railroad guns because I had conquered this Dover and Salisbury. I'd already conquered them before. And so looks like Virginia came in and did that, but apparently they brought over a bunch of other troops and everything and followed me. So that's okay. That kind of stuff happens. Again, I'm not that worried about it. I've got significant forces there. They're not concentrated, they're spread out, but I've got significant forces in the area. I'm going to just continue what I was doing and conquer as much territory as I can so that I really damage the computer controlled enemies. I want to damage their economy so they can't keep pumping out premium units to send at me. The only thing they'll be left to send is infantry and militia and things like that. You know, stuff that's very easy to kill. So if we go down to, or I'm sorry, come over here to the Pacific. In the last video, you could see where I was staging all kinds of units out here in the Pacific Ocean. And so what I did is went ahead and sent them on in. Up here to the north, uh, I've got uh, 4 infantry units. I'm going to go ahead and land. I don't care if these guys get killed. They mean nothing to me. I'm just going to use them to try to conquer as much territory as possible. Um, I brought my battleship. It's 2 battleships, a destroyer, and a submarine. Brought it over as coastal support. In fact, I need to move this one on in here too. Uh, I landed 5 railroad guns. I split them up into a 3 and a 2. And you can see by all the damage uh, where there's been units that have come down to that area. Again, the computer or a player, their natural instinct is to redivert their troops and go get their territory back. That becomes their priority. And in doing so, I'm just picking them off as they get close. Now, here's an interesting little wrinkle is that this is a railroad gun unit here. But when we look at it, uh, it's 1 railroad gun and then a self-propelled anti-aircraft unit. So it bumped up his hit points up to 80, at which he has 79.3 left. So that unit has done some battle somewhere else and was because railroad guns tend to be slower than most of the other units. You know, it's probably lagging behind, so it was one of the first ones to be able to come back. But it was down in the Northern California area uh, because they're in a coalition, so they were able to, you know, it was able to travel Northern California's territories. So with the free travel, he came up here and has kind of snuck up to me. So now he's attacking my railroad gun. So of course I'm going to stop, and he wants to attack this unit up here, but I don't want that. So I'm going to tell it to turn back around and attack this railroad gun. So I've got a 3 against 1 situation here. Obviously I'm going to win it, but I will take some damage from that railroad gun. So I'm down to 129 out of 138 points with these 3 railroad guns. So I've lost a little bit. Not worried about it. My economy is strong. I'm pumping out fresh units all the time. You can see on the Pacific side, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 headed up to Oregon. And then I've got another railroad gun. Yes, here in I'm going to take over these 2 territories from Baja, California. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a preemptive attack and just take these over quickly and work my way up. This is a Baja California, very easy to take over, but it's very slow because of the mountain range that runs down through it. So it takes a long time, but that's okay. And here's why I like using a railroad gun. Uh, Let me target it here. Well, you can't see it. Let me target another railroad gun close by here. Okay, I'll pull back, and you can see the range of a railroad gun, and you can imagine once this railroad gun makes landfall here and takes the city over, you can see the wide range that I'm going to have. So as I go up Baja California through the north here, that range will extend out into the water. So any naval units other than submarine, any naval units will be spotted, and I could potentially fire against them. So that's kind of one of those things you might want to remember. If you run into a situation where you start out as west or central Mexico here, uh, what one of the first things you want to do is take over Baja California. It's an easy conquer. You get your resources and everything from it. It only has one city, and that's Tijuana. Uh, you have to go a roundabout way to get over there to conquer Tijuana. But once you do, look how close you are to San Diego. So you can use it as a staging area to get ready to invade north if you want to, or defend, however you're playing the game. But my point is uh, it's nice to have that extra coverage out over the water. And where you can really use that to an advantage is if you have one or two railroad guns stationed here, San Jose del Cabo, uh, putting an effective area of coverage, this, splitting, at least covering half of the bay here. And then if you have another railroad gun here at Mazatlan, it will cover the rest of the water and maybe even overlap a little bit. So you don't have to worry about surface ships traveling up through north here to get to Los Mochis and Guaymas and attacking. So if you have a naval yard in either one of these or both, and you're producing ships, they're fairly well protected. So you'll have protection on land, and then whatever you build can self-defend. But the point is that's a strategic location. Is this peninsula here and the city right across the bay? So just something to keep in mind. There's other examples, uh, not just in the North America campaign map, but the other Europe and such. You can look for stuff like that, and it can be really and it can kind of disrupt other people's plans. They're like, yeah, I know what I'll do. I'll sneak in and go through. I'll sneak in and get a couple battleships and position them up here, and then they won't be able to travel back and forth, get out to the Pacific coast or whatever, or take troops uh, to avoid the mountains, which take forever to travel through. They'll come down through here through the plains and everything, where it's a faster travel. But what they'll do is they'll position a battleship or something here. Not sure what that was, but anyway, they will just wreak havoc and be a pain in the ass basically. And so you can prevent all of that just by having a couple of railroad guns or something down here, providing some nice coverage because they'll come in, they'll see that you've got defenses there, and they may just abandon those plans altogether. So something to keep in mind. Um, anyway, so I've got some battling to do. I've got some defending to do. I've got to pay attention and kind of babysit this situation over here. Looks like my guns have fired on this one, so let's see what he's got left. He's got 55.4 out of 80. So that again, that's going to be an easy kill, but I am taking some damage on that one. But with three railroad guns stacked together, I've still got 129 points, so I'm not worried about it. I'll win that one. The only thing I'm really worried about when it comes to railroad guns is other railroad guns, and then bombers. If you have a stack of 10 airplanes attacking a railroad gun, uh, you know, I can't escape that. Planes cover too big an area and they're too fast. And so within a couple of hours, they can decimate railroad guns pretty easily. Uh, the only other thing that you really have to worry about, but can be avoided, is when somebody will stack up 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tanks just for the hit points, and then do a tank rush and come in, stack them up and just come in, and uh, I can't kill them fast enough before they get to me. But there are strategic things you can do to minimize that. Let me go over here to the East Coast and see if I can show you an example. Um, it may be hard for you to see on screen, but if you can see the routes, uh, the dotted lines, and here's a good example right here. You have wood. Let's imagine this triangle here. The southern tip is Trenton. The northern tip is Woodbury, New York, and then this is Columbia, New York, or New York. I'm sorry, New York City, and this will be the eastern uh, third of the triangle. So if I have uh, a large force that's attacking me, and it is able to outrun me, whether it's 10 scout cars or whatever it is. So, something with a lot of hit points that I can't easily kill quickly. What you can do is get in an initial hit and then follow the triangle away. Now, it may still catch you, but you can still fire, and then every 30 minutes, stop and fire, and then immediately get traveling again. And you can, again, play cat and mouse there with it and get in enough damage, you might be able to survive the encounter, or at least weaken the opponent so much that when they do finally catch up to you and engage, remember the battle is not going to be over instantly. Railroad guns are hardy enough on their own that you may get two or three more volleys off before your unit dies, and that may be enough to win, and you'll come out successful. But there are other places where you can do a parallel route, and I'll show you that right here with Philadelphia as a good example. Uh, in Philadelphia, you can go north, you can go west, you can go east. Um, I don't think you can go south through. Oh, I guess you can. I guess you can go south there. But if you follow the arrows here, and here, I'll leave it right there, and you can see. Uh, you'll notice that the unusual shaped jag that comes down from the south uh, actually goes back west a little bit and then heads east again. And this is an example where uh, if you can stay out ahead and follow the path that the highlighted arrow is showing you, the enemy, unless they follow that exact path chasing after you, let's say they're coming from the north, if they don't and they decide to cut east and take this route, they'll be very close. They're within your range, but if they're not able to actually contact you, uh, as they as they start to go uh, east to come down here to Tom's River and then come back to get you, um, like you can see the highlighted arrows showing. As soon as you see what they're trying to do, then you could head west, and it's very even though you're very close, can't engage you. And you can use the pathing here that they have determined for the game to your advantage. So in other words, you're both running parallel, and you can fire, but they can't fire. And then when they start to get too close or whatever, you can switch directions and go back west. And if they come down here to Tom's River and then take this southern route to come back at you right there like this, if you're kind of over here in this area, well, you can head back west, and then you can either continue west or you can go north. You know, and then if you may even flip sides, you're on the north half now, and they're down here on the southern half, and they never touch you. And I've used these pathing situations like that to my advantage before, and easily evaded attacking armies and things. So, well, let me go ahead and end this video. I just got to let you know, if you watched this far, I appreciate it, and I hope you're learning something. Hope I'm helping you out with your gameplay. I'm gonna go ahead and make some more. Uh, I'll make some update videos from so you can see my progress and the progress of the game and any successes that I have or any failures. But it'll be 2, 3, 4 days before I make another video. It's kind of senseless to keep pumping them out every day. Um, it gets kind of boring. But anyway, I hope you enjoy it and learn something. Thank you for watching.